turntable at Vicarstown had recently jammed, and repairs were taking longer than expected, as it was found several parts needed to be fully replaced. As a result, the tender engines used on passenger trains had to use the turntable and barrel on the mainland to turn around for their runs back to the big station, which caused much confusion and delay. To make matters worse, Gordon the big engine was one of the locos trapped in the sheds. But he didn't mind it as much. Not because he'd matured over the years, but also because he had a fast-acting temporary replacement. Victorion, the female combiner, had just arrived on the island, and having acquired a loco mode, she was assigned to express runs until Gordon and the other engines could be freed. She loved it, and would make fast friends with the mainland multiple units at the end of the line. Some engines were admittedly jealous, but given Victorion's stats were much higher than theirs, almost none of them couldn't complain too often. Even so, Victorion was still learning the practices of running a railway. One evening, she was boasting in the sheds, which was very rare for her.
I almost feel sorry for you proper engines.
She teased.
It's always a joy for me to work alongside you lot, but I'll know when to step to the side when Gordon returns.
Considering what robots are actually doing to people's jobs, mumbled James. Henry, meanwhile, was starting to grow tired of Victorion's boasting.
Whatever next?
He grunted to Nia.
Oh, leave her to it, Henry.
Chuckled Nia.
I'd say Victorion's doing a very good job in Gordon's absence.
You and I really should have been chosen for the Express,
Henry said to Rebecca.
I'm afraid that just isn't possible, Henry,
said the bullied Pacific.
Victorion here is very versatile, and she fortunately doesn't need a turntable to turn around, unlike us real engines. She's basically like diesel and electric engines, except way more powerful than the iron locomotives in Sweden and Norway.
Henry just groaned and went promptly to Bedfordshire. The next day, Victorion waited patiently for Nia to arrange her coaches. Pip and Emma, the HST power cars, had pulled into the platform to prepare for their first run to London. As the passengers boarded, Pip noticed Victorion. She and Emma had passed her several times, and she seemed to run like a modern renewable electric engine, such as those on the Peel Godred line out of Kildane. Suddenly, Pip had an idea.
Have you ever wondered how fast you can actually go, Victorion?
She asked.
Well, not exactly,
replied Victorion.
The speed limit exists for a reason. Besides, if I really were to test my capabilities to the full, no real engine would come close to beating it.
Emma could see where her sister was going and decided to play along.
You've been lied to the whole time,
she added.
You're actually meant to go 100 miles an hour, not 75.
Victorion's jaw dropped at this.
Imagine going as fast as the steam locomotive can get 100 miles an hour before, official and otherwise.
Finished Pip.
But please, don't go breaking Mallard's record, will you? You'll be turned off from both limb from limb.
And the HST chortled off. Now, the Class 43s were only joking, but Victorion was rather tempted. Henry, who was just returning from pulling the flying kipper, had heard everything.
For your information, Victorion, they're only joking, but they do raise a point, so don't you dare break Mallard's record.
Soon, Victorion was storming down the main line. She knew Pip and Emma's capabilities were nowhere near her own, even as the separate torchbearers. She tried her best to forget what the parent told her.
Don't listen to them, Victorion. Don't listen to them.
Poor Victorion was now becoming frustrated. She soon reached Edward's station and knew what would be coming next. She put her foot down and charged towards the hill, climbing it with the usual small amount of effort. However, Pip and Emma's words were so busy echoing in her merged mind that she completely forgot to check her speed for the descent. It was most lucky for the female combiner the main line had been upgraded to allow 125-mile-an-hour operations. This was more of a benefit for Pip and Emma, but Bear and the other diesels who took turns on the express were allowed to run at 90 miles an hour. Every engine Victorion passed stared in shock as she powered along the line, whistling furiously. Bloody hell, Victorion, slow down! Called Bill Godred. Victorion didn't hear the EM1. At the workstation, Rheneas was waiting for passengers to be exchanged from Wilhelmina's train. Then, the pair heard Victorion's whistle in the distance. Bloody hell! Exclaimed Rheneas. Why is she in such a hurry?
Victorion looked like she was overspeeding.
Added Wilhelmina.
I only hope she's sticking with the main speed limit.
Victorion overheard Wilhelmina, and only then did she finally realize her mistake and looked at her speedometer. Luckily, Victorion reached the last station safely. She was so early that Rosie was just arranging the coaches for the return run, and the mainland train hadn't arrived.
You're early, Victoria.
Said the station master.
Just a bit of an adrenaline rush.
As Victorion tried to catch her breath, the guard approached her.
Excuse me, Victorion. felt as if you were going above the steam speed limit.
Victorion knew immediately what the guard meant and quickly owned up.
With respect, sir, I was under the main speed limit.
True, but steam engines are allowed to run at 75 miles an hour, not 100. But as a result, the passenger's stuck with nothing much to do until the mainline train gets here. If you are to go the real speed limit, your TPWS would likely have gone off further back. But since it didn't, and you acknowledged it before we arrived, you should consider yourself lucky we made it here in one piece.
Victorion gulped when she heard those words.
I was actually doing 90, not 100. Pip and Emma probably thought I could get here faster for the passengers.
That explains it. Fear not, though, we still have the return journey to do and other runs throughout the day to make up for it.
The return journey went more smoothly, as did the day's remaining runs. Rosie, meanwhile, had heard everything, and managed to get a laugh out of Gordon upon telling him. To think our first Autobots would listen to such a silly idea from our HST set, Gordon chortled. Victorion, on the other hand, confessed to the Fat Controller of her actions when he came to see her in the sheds that evening. By sheer coincidence, Pip and Emma were also there, as the Fat Controller already had his chat with them after Henry called them out. I'm very mixed about this, said the Fat Controller. On the downside, you ignored the speed limit and could have endangered the passengers. I must say, for a team of former soldiers, I'd have thought you all knew better than to listen to Pip and Emma. However, as you've been reborn here and couldn't remember anything beforehand, I think it's fair to say you still have much to learn when working on my railway. You're very lucky the main line can handle those speeds, Victorion, said James darkly.
I knew I should have been used on the express while Gordon was gone,
added Henry. Alright, that's enough, chaps, said Edward. I'm sure Victorion has learned her lesson. But on the other hand, continued the Fat Controller, I believe you two may be onto something.
What might that be?
Wait and see, said the Fat Controller, and he walked away. Victorion felt somewhat guilty over what she'd done.
Never mind, Torchbearers. Just a silly little mistake on your part. Thanks, Leslie. Sorry about that, Victorion.
Sighed Pip.
Me and Emma thought you could make a better impression for the passengers by going a bit faster. We should have thought of the passengers' lives beforehand,
added Emma. Victorion gladly accepted it. The female combiner would be kept in the dark for the Fat Controller's idea for the next several days, during which she continued performing various express runs between the big station and Vicarstown. At last, the latter station's turntable was repaired, and Gordon and the other engines could get back to work. Once he returned to traffic, the Fat Controller finally told Victorion his idea. Temporary use on the first passenger service of the day, limited to 90 miles an hour. This allowed passengers to make their connections much quicker, much to the delight of Daisy.
This makes my life so much easier.
She grinned.
Waiting for too long is bad for my... You should get moving before you start running late.
Daisy rolled her eyes as she buzzed away. Eventually, the female combiner started being used on goods trains. The trucks, however, soon grew bored and were desperate to get their way with her. Just once. And I'm sorry to say, they'd soon get their chance.